Okay, now to pick up where we left off, we created a user, but like I said, this is a good start. We have the email and user ID of the person and like the provider they used, but what if we wanted to store more information about this user, like their profile picture or how many videos they've uploaded, which videos they uploaded, and things like that. For that, of course, we need some kind of persistent data store like a database. So you can open up Firestore via the build group here. I think it's third one down. So clicking Firestore here, we're going to create a database instance. I think you can only have one per project. I might be wrong about that, but I'm going to create one now. And I'm going to create this one in production mode, but you can see that it has some security rules. We'll talk about that in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and create it. And we have to select the region, and I want to do US Central if that's available, and it looks like it's not. That's unfortunate. We've been using US Central for everything. For this one, I guess I'll just use US West 1. It shouldn't really make a difference, but ideally we could have all our resources in the same region just to be a little bit faster from like a latency perspective, but oh well, not a big deal. So I'll go ahead and enable this. And while that's going, I might as well show you in Google Cloud. I'm going to open up a new window here, and Firestore is actually a service that's also available in Google Cloud. So when you create a database here in your same Google Cloud project, if you navigate to Firestore, you're going to see that it also created a database there. Basically, these two databases are the same. This is the same database. And you can see that the location here is also US West 1. Now, we'll be kind of doing everything within Firebase, and the reason is just because it's going to be a bit more simple for us, but it's worth knowing that this is literally the same thing in Google Cloud. I think there just might be a slightly different way to use this, but that's not a big deal. So back here, this is a NoSQL database. More specifically, it's a document-based database. Document databases have collections. We're going to create a collection manually right now, and we're going to call it the users collection. And we're going to create a document, and a document is basically a JSON object. So I'm going to auto-generate the ID, not a big deal. And here, maybe I'm just going to say email address of our user, and I'm going to put the email address that was generated. I honestly don't even remember what it is. I think it's this. Pressing enter, you can see we created a document. Now, the ID is not the same as the ID we had in authentication. And the reason is because I'm actually just going to delete this. I was just showing it for demo purposes. We're just playing around, kind of understanding what Firestore is all about. You can see this is a collection. A collection is kind of like a table if you're familiar with SQL, and a document is kind of like a row. The difference is that this can be nested. Like here, we can have string types, we can have number types, booleans, maps. That's going to be how we can make this nested. You can see that this is maybe like the videos they uploaded, and then the key is going to be like the video ID, and then the value would be like the URL of the video. So we could make this nested if we want to. I think we can even make it more nested, like we'd have a map inside of a map, etc. But we're not going to be taking advantage of that right now. I just want to give you a quick demo here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of this. I'm going to delete this collection if we are allowed to. Yep, there we go. Delete the collection because we're going to programmatically add users here. And to quickly show you what Firestore rules are, we have currently a single rule that basically says that allow reads and writes is completely turned off right now. And the reason we have to have this rule is because Firestore is actually readable and writable in theory from client-side JavaScript code. That means we could, in theory, add data here and remove data and edit data from our JavaScript client code. That means, in theory, we wouldn't even need a real backend to manipulate our database. And usually, that's always been the case. You usually need your backend service to manipulate your database for security reasons. The way Firestore kind of gets around that is by having security rules so that you can specifically say a user can only update their own document, the one that matches their user ID. And this kind of architecture is called backend as a service because in theory, you don't need a real backend, but we will not be taking advantage of this functionality. I'm actually going to end the video there because in the next part, we're going to actually be creating a backend. We're going to be using Firebase functions, aka cloud functions, and we're going to use that to read and write from our database. And you'll see why in the next video.